Sunday morning smelled like pancakes, and the kind of peace that usually means trouble is stretching in the other room. I was in the kitchen flipping pancakes like a man who believed carbohydrates could fix long-term problems. From the living room, I heard Amelia and her friends laughing, Charlotte with her polished boss lady voice, and Emma with the soft laugh that always arrived half a second too late, like she needed permission. The door between kitchen and living room was cracked. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop. Our house has the acoustic morals of a tin can. Their voices just wandered in on their own. "That's the last one," Charlotte said. "He passed all 5, 12 months, and he didn't suspect a thing." My spatula stopped midair. The pancake fell back in the pan with a sound that said, "Not my business." Emma added, "See? He's emotionally stable." Mostly, I put the last pancake on a plate, grabbed 3 mugs, and walked in like a very polite bomb. "Morning," I said, setting everything on the coffee table. "So I passed all 5? Do I get a certificate, or do we do cap and gown?" 3 faces did a synchronized freeze. Amelia's smile collapsed. Charlotte tried to look bored. Emma looked like the floor might need comforting. "Ben," Amelia started. I smiled. "Don't worry, I'm calm." That's my thing, right? Calm while being evaluated like a dishwasher, Charlotte exhaled through her nose. "It was just a silly experiment." "Great," I said. "Walk me through your silly—" "I'd love the syllabus," Amelia flinched. "Ben, please." "No yelling here," I said lightly. "Just pancakes and truth." Emma, bless her, tried to help. "We only wanted to be sure you two were good." "Terrific," I said. "Let's confirm how good. Tell me everything." She looked everywhere but at me, then started talking. Test 1, the hospital text. It was March, 2 months after the wedding, when she texted me at 11:18 a.m. At the hospital. Might have to stay overnight. No extra words, no emoji. Amelia loves emoji. That was the first red flag I didn't know was red. I wrapped early, lied to my boss that there was a family emergency, not entirely false, and drove 40 minutes like a law-abiding man who wanted to speed. I found her in the main lobby in a blue chair that makes everyone look like old fruit. She was scrolling her phone, legs crossed, purse perfectly upright. The purse looked healthier than anyone around. "Hey," I said, breathing harder than my cardio would admit. She blinked up, surprised. "You're here?" "What's happened?" I said. A nurse walked by with a cart full of beeping opinions. Amelia lowered her voice. "It's probably nothing. Routine check. They just want some tests." "So tests are good now," I said, unaware of the foreshadowing beating me with a stick. She smiled weakly. "I didn't want to worry you. You texted me that you might stay overnight." I thought I might. We sat an hour. The doctor finally called her. 15 minutes later, she came back with a false alarm and a paper recommending hydration like it was a personality. Months later, today, I found out that the hospital trip was Charlotte's idea. A crisis simulation. The group chat had notes. Prompted message at 11:15, allow him to decide. If he drops work without anger, empathy score. There was a screenshot of my "on my way" text. Charlotte wrote under it, "Excellent responsiveness. Non-accusatory. 9 out of 10, I said. You lied about being in the hospital." "It was a checkup," she said quickly, eyes shiny. "I didn't lie. I just didn't include the part where it wasn't urgent." "Right," I said. "Fun fact, my pulse didn't get that memo." Charlotte sat back like a panel judge. "He arrived without blame." "That's what matters." "Cool," I said. "I'm glad my lack of blame earned a number." "Okay. Go ahead." Test 2. Flowers from Mark. The bouquet arrived on a Thursday. A tall white box from Larkspur and Vine, the expensive florist on Ashbury. The one with the window that makes peonies look like celebrities hiding from taxes. The card said, "For the one who never changes, Mark." The ribbon was navy, the handwriting neat, masculine, the kind that belongs to a man with a rowing photo on LinkedIn. "So, Mark?" I'd asked. smiling like a man auditioning for a toothpaste ad. Amelia shrugged, pulling the stems out like she knew what to do with botany. Old friend, college. He sends flowers sometimes. Sometimes, I said, still smiling. I must have missed the previous episodes. It's rare, she said. He went through a rough patch. It's a thank you thing, I nodded, because I have a strict policy about giving people rope. Nice flowers. She looked at me like I'd failed a test I didn't know I was taking. You're not bothered by flowers? I said. I'm not allergic. That night, I cooked miso salmon. She put the bouquet on the counter in a tall glass we save for when we want to pretend we're adults. We didn't talk about Mark. We talked about how the neighbor's dog had learned to dig, and how the grocery store now has 5 kinds of oat milk for 5 kinds of people I don't want to be. Here's what I know now. There is no Mark. Charlotte picked the name. Emma found the florist. Amelia paid cash. Charlotte reimbursed her on Venmo with a pizza emoji because comedy heals. The card was printed by the shop. Amelia requested mail neat, which is apparently a font. In the chat, Charlotte wrote, delivery scheduled 3 to 5 p.m., Ben home at 5:30? Amelia sends a photo to group either way. Watch for interrogation, sulking, phone checking, territorial behavior. When the bouquet landed and my entire reaction was nice flowers, they screen recorded our kitchen camera footage. Yes, the camera we installed for safety, to study my face. Charlotte wrote, secure attachment, non-possessive, 10 out of 10. Emma wrote, he's so sweet. Amelia wrote, he made salmon. Guess I feed well in captivity. I asked, how long did you know Mark was imaginary? Since the invoice, Amelia said, small. I didn't want you to feel watched. Just graded, I said. Emma tried to patch the hole with gentle. Ben, jealousy can be dangerous. We needed to know if I'd turn into a lunatic because someone sent flowers, I said. Were they tulips? Ranunculus, Amelia said, because of course she learned the word. And white garden roses. Great, I said. At least I can tell people I was tested with premium flowers. Test 3. The anniversary weekend. The lake trip happened in July. The text came with 5 exclamation points, which is Amelia for, please like this. The girls are planning a weekend at Pine Creek Lake. It's the only date everyone can do, July 17th to 19th. Cabin, kayaks, wine, 0 signal. Should I go? Our anniversary is July 18th, the date that wears rings. I stared at my phone and saw 2 choices. Hey, our anniversary, and go, have fun. I picked the second because I'm not a hall monitor. Go, I wrote. Take the big hat. Don't drown, bring back snacks. She sent a photo of a floppy straw hat that looks like a satellite dish. You're the best. I bought her travel-size sunscreen, the good kind that smells like coconuts and lies. I set out her weekend duffel. I cleaned her sunglasses because apparently I do that now. She packed a cream sweater for the evening. Amelia believes night air is the villain in most stories, and 3 swimsuits she'd show the lake and no one else. She left Friday morning with a coffee and a playlist named Girls Be Girls. That night, I ate takeout noodles and looked at our wedding album like a dumb romantic. I stopped on the picture where we're walking out of the church. She's laughing, veil doing veil things, my tie slightly crooked because nerves also think they're invited. I texted her, happy almost. She sent a picture of a fire pit and 4 pairs of feet with nail polish like candy. Wish you were here, she wrote, which is illegal to send to a husband on his anniversary eve. Saturday, our anniversary, I made pancakes for one because I have traditions, even when no one's watching. I posted nothing because I'm not a show. She texted a picture of the lake at noon, blue, lazy, pretending to be a postcard. Thinking of you, I wrote back. Same. Then I went to the hardware store and tried to buy a shelf I don't need. The shelf won. She came back Sunday with a jar of local honey and a story about a raccoon that understood boundaries better than some people. We hugged. I kissed her hair. She smelled like cedar and wine and the recipe for apology that isn't actually an apology. Today, I scrolled the chat log. Charlotte. Perfect date chosen. Anniversary will force him to show ownership tendencies, Emma. If he handles it well, that's good. If he doesn't, also data. Amelia. He told me to have fun and packed sunscreen. He texted happy almost. Charlotte. Compliant, encouraging. 10 out of 10. I said there were 51 other weekends that summer. It was the only date that worked for everyone, Amelia said quietly. She sounded like she was repeating something she didn't really believe. Charlotte rolled her eyes. If your marriage can't survive one girl's weekend, maybe that says something. Yeah, I said. It says math is real. One day a year, and it happened to be ours. Emma looked up. But you told her to go. Because I thought she forgot, I said. Not because I wanted to be part of an experiment. Amelia's voice dropped. I brought honey. You did, I said. Thanks. It's good honey. We sat in silence for a while. The clock ticked too loud. Finally, I said, all right. That's 3 tests, hospital, flowers, and the trip. What's next? Amelia rubbed her thumb against her wedding ring. Do we have to do this right now? Yes, I said calmly. Now's good. We've already done 12 months of it. She looked at her friends, then back at me. I'm sorry, Charlotte sighed. Let's not act like this is a crime. It's just relationship research. People take personality tests all the time. Sure, I said. Except HR usually tells you when you're taking one. Emma looked down. We shouldn't have hidden it from you. True, I said, but you had great lighting for your secret project. Test 4, the public joke. It happened at a dinner with her friends and a few coworkers. Big table, wine, candles, everyone laughing too loud at small things. Charlotte brought up relationships, because of course she did. Someone asked what makes a healthy couple. Amelia smiled, and then she said it. Ben's great at making decisions once someone else already made them. Laughter. Not evil laughter, just the polite kind that people do when they're not sure what side they're on. I smiled too, because that's what you do when your wife makes you the joke. I took a sip of wine, said nothing, and waited for the noise to die. Later that night, when it was just us, she said, It was a joke, Ben. Yeah, I said. I noticed. The punchline was me. I didn't mean it that way. I know, I said. You meant it in front of everyone. Months later, I saw the notes. Charlotte had written, Social stress test. Humorous provocation. Observe for defensiveness or withdrawal. Emma added, He smiled, stayed calm, handled it perfectly. Charlotte's comment below that, 9 out of 10, slightly detached tone but no visible irritation. When I read it, I almost laughed. You graded my dignity, I said. Amelia looked down. It wasn't meant to hurt you. It did, I said simply. You just didn't measure that part. Test 5. The brothers' dinner. This one I should have seen coming. Family dinner, her parents, her brother Daniel. The kind of guy who always talks like he's giving a TED Talk no one asked for. He poured himself wine, looked at me and said, So Ben, still at that same job? What's the plan? Retire there. The table went quiet for a second. I smiled and raised my glass. One step at a time, Daniel. But thanks for the career coaching. Everyone chuckled, tension gone, or so I thought. Later, I found out it wasn't spontaneous. Charlotte again. Introduce controlled insult through family member. Measure reaction, anger, sarcasm, or restraint. Daniel agreed to it, apparently for fun. When I read that message, I didn't even feel angry anymore, just tired. At the time, I had smiled and moved on. They gave that a perfect score. Maintained composure. No retaliation. 10 out of 10, I turned to Amelia. Your brother called me unambitious to my face. You said nothing, because it was part of the plan, wasn't it? She looked at me with tears in her eyes. It wasn't supposed to go that far. Far? I asked quietly. You spent a year turning our marriage into a science project. She cried. Not loud, just quiet enough to make the room feel smaller. I sat back in my chair and looked at her. So, that's all 5, I said. Hospital, flowers, the trip, the joke, and your brother. She nodded slowly. Yes. You tested my empathy, jealousy, patience, ego, and pride. Her voice shook. I just wanted to be sure. You were sure, I said. You just wanted to control the result. Charlotte tried to cut in again. Ben, you're overreacting. You passed, didn't you? You should be proud. I turned my head and looked at her, calm as ever. Charlotte, I said, you failed. You just don't know it yet. She blinked, finally silent. Amelia sat there, holding her mug like it could fix anything. Her hands were shaking a little. I ruined everything, didn't I? She whispered. Not everything, I said. Just the trust. That's all. She nodded. Can we fix it? I don't know, I said honestly. Maybe, but only if we stop treating love like a checklist. No one spoke for a while. Even Charlotte didn't. Emma stared at the pancakes like they'd suddenly become symbolic. Finally, I stood up. I'm going for a walk, I said. Amelia looked up. Will you come back? I thought about it, then said, that depends. Next time I do, am I still your husband or just your favorite experiment? I walked out before anyone could answer. The door clicked behind me, and for the first time in a year, the silence actually felt real. I walked for about half an hour. No plan, no destination, just needed to let the noise drain out of my head. The street was quiet, the kind of quiet that doesn't fix anything, but helps you think clearer. The air was warm. My thoughts weren't. Every step replayed one scene after another. The fake hospital, the flowers, the weekend, the joke, the brother. Each one like a bad rerun of a show I didn't agree to star in. I stopped by the park, sat on a bench, and stared at nothing for a few minutes. When someone you love turns you into a project, it doesn't break you fast. It does it slow, piece by piece, like rust. After 30 minutes, I'd made up my mind. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to slam doors. I was just going to draw the line and make it clean. When I came back home, the house looked exactly the same, but it felt smaller. Charlotte was leaning against the counter like she owned the place. Emma sat on the couch, phone in her hands, pretending to scroll. And Amelia, she was sitting there, eyes red, shoulders hunched like she wanted to disappear. I dropped my keys on the table. All right, I said quietly. Show's over. Charlotte straightened up. Ben, listen. I shook my head. No, you've been doing the talking for a year. It's my turn. Emma stood up. Maybe we should go. That's a great idea, I said. Don't overthink it. Just go. Charlotte crossed her arms. You can't just throw people out of your house because you're upset. I met her eyes. Watch me. Emma tried to say something, but Charlotte put a hand on her arm. Her voice got sharper. You're being unreasonable. I've been reasonable for 12 months, I said. That's literally what got me here. Charlotte scoffed. You're acting like we tortured you. I tilted my head. You faked emergencies, manipulated my wife, and tracked my reactions. That's not far off, Emma whispered. Ben, please, we didn't mean… Yeah, I said. That's the problem. You never mean anything. You just do it. Charlotte opened her mouth to argue again, but something in my face must have told her not to. Fine, she muttered, grabbing her purse. You're overreacting. Probably, I said. But at least I'm doing it honestly. Emma looked at Amelia. You'll be okay? Amelia nodded weakly. Yeah. Emma hesitated, then turned to me. I'm sorry, Ben. Really? I know, I said. But sorry doesn't rewind time. They both left quietly. The door clicked shut behind them, and for the first time that day, the house actually felt like mine again. Amelia stayed on the couch, frozen. Her eyes followed me like she didn't know if she was allowed to move. I sat down across from her. "You can stop crying now," I said softly. "They're gone." She took a shaky breath. I didn't know what else to do. "You could have started by talking to me," I said. "I didn't want to lose you." "You almost did anyway," I said. "The difference is, now it's your move." She wiped her face. "What do you mean?" I leaned forward. "We missed one last test." She frowned. "What?" "Test 6, I said. "The final one." She shook her head. "Ben, please." "No," I said. "You spent a year testing me. Now it's your turn." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "What kind of test?" "It's simple," I said. "It's about decision-making, without Charlotte, without Emma, without anyone telling you what's right." She stared at me. "What decision?" "You decide if this marriage means anything to you." Alone, her lips trembled. "And if I say it does?" "Then prove it," I said, "by acting like it." She looked down at her hands. "And if I can't?" "Then I'll know you weren't looking for a husband," I said. "You were looking for approval." She blinked fast, like she was trying to keep herself together. "Ben, I love you. I just got lost." "I believe you," I said. "But love without respect isn't partnership. It's pity. And I'm not interested in that. Tears started again. "So what happens now?" "You get 12 hours, I said calmly. "You think about what you want without checking with anyone else. And when I come back, you give me your answer." 12 hours? She repeated, shocked. "Yeah," I said. "You took 12 months to judge me. You can handle 12 hours for yourself." She shook her head. "This isn't fair." "It's not supposed to be," I said. "It's supposed to be real." I stood up, grabbed my jacket again. Amelia rose too, desperate. "Ben, please don't walk away." "Not like this." I stopped by the door. "I'm not walking away. I'm giving you space, something you clearly needed but never gave." She stepped closer, eyes wet. "Can't we talk about this?" "Please." "No," I said. "Talking is what got us here." "You don't need to talk right now. You need to decide." Her voice cracked. "I don't know if I can do this alone." I looked at her for a long moment. "Then that's your answer." She covered her face with her hands, crying quietly. I opened the door, paused for a second, and said, "Test 6 starts now." Then I walked out. The door closed softly behind me. Outside, the air felt different. Lighter, maybe. For the first time in a year, I wasn't the one being studied. This time, she was the one under the microscope, and the only person who could grade her was herself. I spent the night at a small hotel near the highway. Just a bed, a lamp, and silence. Exactly what I needed. No Charlotte, no Emma, no voices trying to analyze me. Just time to think. By morning, I knew what I had to do. When I came back home, the house was still. No laughter, no movement. Just quiet air that smelled like yesterday's coffee and regret. Amelia was at the kitchen table, hair tied up, red eyes, a notepad full of scribbles in front of her. She looked up the second I walked in. "Morning," she said softly. "Morning," I answered, setting my keys down. 12 hours are up." She nodded. "I know." "Did you call anyone?" "No," she said quietly. "I deleted the chats." "Both. I'm done with them." I sat down across from her. "Good. But I need proof." She blinked. "Proof?" "Yeah," I said. "You spent a year letting other people decide what's best for you. Now you're going to tell them that stops today. Call Charlotte." Speakerphone. Her shoulders tensed. "Right now?" "Right now," I said. She hesitated, then picked up her phone. Her hands were shaking a little as she scrolled and pressed the name. It rang twice. "Amelia!" Charlotte's voice came loud and sharp through the speaker. "Finally! Please tell me you didn't actually let him." "Charlotte," Amelia said, cutting her off. Her voice was low but steady. "I'm done." There was a pause. "Done with what?" "Done letting you tell me what to do." she said. I'm staying with my husband. Because I want to. Not because you approve, not because Emma agrees, because it's my choice. Silence. Then Charlotte laughed. Wow. So he's controlling you now? No, Amelia said. He's the only one who stopped trying. She ended the call and placed the phone face down on the table. Her hands were trembling. I nodded once. That'll do. Amelia exhaled. You really needed to hear that? No, I said. You did. Her eyes filled up again. I did, she whispered. She took a breath. I know I broke everything, Ben. I wanted to feel safe, but I just ended up controlling everything around me, including you. I treated you like data, not a person. I stayed silent, letting her speak. I don't want to be that person anymore, she said. I don't want friends who turn love into a checklist. I just want to start over. If you'll let me. I leaned back in my chair. Starting over doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen. You understand that, right? She nodded quickly. I do. It means real therapy, I said. A professional, not Charlotte with a glass of wine and a podcast. Her voice was small but certain. I already found one. I booked a session. Just me, I raised an eyebrow. You did that without asking anyone? For once, yes. I gave a small nod. All right, that's a real start. She looked up, searching my face. Does that mean you're staying? I'm not leaving, I said, but we're not going back either. Her eyes softened. Then we build something new. Exactly, I said. We can't fix what's broken by pretending it never cracked. We build again, or not at all. She reached out slowly, almost afraid to touch my hand. I want to build again, she said quietly. I let her fingers rest on mine for a second, then said, Then that's what we do. But from now on, no tests, no advice circles, no outside voices, just us. She nodded. Deal. And if Charlotte ever texts again? I asked. I won't answer, she said. I promise. I nodded. Good. Because she's out. For good. We sat there quietly for a long time. No tears, no shouting, just two people realizing that if they wanted a future, they'd have to earn it the hard way. Amelia looked at me finally. No more tests? I smiled faintly. No more tests. Just effort. She breathed out slowly, a little steadier than before. Effort I can do. Good, I said, because that's the only thing that matters now. Outside, the morning light slipped through the window. Pale, uncertain, but real. And for the first time in a long time, it felt like a beginning, not another experiment. The first therapy session was awkward as hell. We sat on opposite ends of the couch like two people waiting for the same bus, but pretending they didn't see each other. The therapist, a calm woman in her 50s named Dr. Hayes, had that voice that makes you feel like you're about to confess something, whether you plan to or not. She looked at me, then at Amelia. Why are you both here? She asked. Amelia spoke first. Because I broke something I didn't know how to fix? Dr. Hayes nodded, then turned to me. And you? Because I'm not sure if it's fixable, I said. That was the start. No fireworks, no grand speeches, just silence, honesty, and a box of tissues that never ran out fast enough. Week after week, we talked about things I didn't even know were problems. About trust, about fear, about how being calm doesn't mean being okay, and how being strong doesn't mean being silent. Amelia learned how much her need for control came from fear of being left. I learned that sometimes not reacting can hurt just as much as shouting. Dr. Hayes didn't take sides. She just kept asking the same question in different ways. What are you both trying to protect? By the third month, the house felt different. We stopped walking on eggshells. We stopped playing who's right. And slowly, that wall between us started to crack. Not from fighting, but from finally listening. Amelia apologized more than once, but what mattered wasn't the words. It was the follow-through. She kept her promise. Charlotte and Emma were gone for good. No more tests, no more advice from people who treat emotions like math problems. Instead, we started new habits. Friday nights became movie nights again. Sundays, pancakes as usual, but this time with laughter that didn't sound rehearsed. Amelia got into painting. I started jogging again. We gave each other space without turning it into a competition. Sometimes she'd catch herself wanting to double-check a decision. Then she'd smile and say, "No group chat needed." And I'd reply, "Good answer." A year later, we went back to Dr. Hayes one last time. She asked how we felt. I said, "Better. Not perfect, but better." Amelia nodded. We stopped grading love. We just started living it. Dr. Hayes smiled. That's usually the moment people realize they've passed the only test that matters. Now, when I look back at that year, I don't see just betrayal or anger. I see the line where everything broke and where we finally started building something real, something messy but ours. We still argue sometimes. We still have bad days. But now, we don't need anyone to tell us how to fix them. No group chats, no experiments, just two people who finally learned how to stay when things get uncomfortable and to talk before it's too late. And every Sunday, when I flip pancakes, Amelia sits at the table with her coffee, smiles, and says the same thing. "You know, I'm still sorry." And I say, "Yeah, but I'm still here." If you felt this story hit hard, drop a like, subscribe for more, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps Steelheart beating.